Okay, so at the place where you're at right now, where you've got this, it's informing the pain. Can you see that pain is a sensation? It doesn't even necessarily have to have the title called pain. And then tell me when you get there, because we're going to back up even further.
Yes.
Okay. Now that sensation, that's just sensation, and we see that that's one story. It's one possible outcome of millions of outcomes. It's a specific story, not from you. Just energy itself is just taking on a kind of a story right there.
Mm-hmm.
Of any kind of story. Just aware at this place. Hang here for a second. Because we don't actually have to put in the effort of putting in a different story. We don't actually need something like law of attraction or positive affirmations or rechange our story. That's not required, because awareness itself will always move to its most efficient rhythm, which is to thrive. And it's far more intelligent at knowing what is thrive than our images of a better story. So we're just stay at this place where you can see this particular energy is actually just a story. Like, it's this sensation right here is one possible story. And just keep seeing that. And awareness itself will on its own find a more efficient story, which basically is like a more efficient rhythm. It'll just shift rhythm. So we're just keeping this very, very, very microscopic awareness right at this place where it's just, before it's pain, where it's just sensation, before it's sensation, where it's just a story, or not even quite before it, but just sort of on the edge of it. It's just one particular movement of any particular movement. And ultimately, even in that place, we can drop in what we know is that the body is just made of light. It's actually just light here. And that this particular story and this particular sensation in reality is just light.
I'm just starting to move from sort of generalized to more specific in my body, just above the left hip. Density that can actually be held in soft tissue.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, great.
Just deepening.
Yeah. Can you sort of get that sense of like just feeling in the body that it's story that you're feeling?
I mean, I can see them on the periphery, but they don't matter. All that really matters is just the presence of tension.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, okay, I've created density, or I've received density, I've absorbed density. It's just density. And
then it's not actually density. It's a story called density. But in actuality, just one step before it, it's just light. It's the light taking on a particular story that begins to feel like density. That if we can hang out at that place where it's just light, the story of density gets unwound on its own.
Sort of my natural inclination starts out as it's just space.
So the space itself has a story called comfortable or not. Ultimately, it's not really true. It's just space.
Mm.
And so it's like looking at the place where it's just space. So we just, to go back.
There can be no judgment in that. There can be no judgment in that perspective. It's just void of judgment.
Yes, or void of, let's say, story.
Yeah, it just is.
It just is. But what it is, so if we go from sensation, there's just sensation. There's pain. We go from pain. Pain, there's just sensation. From sensation, it's just energy. From energy, it's just space. And then we look from space and we realize energy, sensation, pain is a story about space.
I'm getting inside.
Good, yeah. And there's nothing here but space. And then we don't have to do anything with that. Just hang out there from space, looking through those stories, looking through the energy story, sensation story, pain story, and just awareness itself at that place dismantles those stories, because those are an inefficient story. It's one story out of a bazillion options, and it's kind of inefficient, and it will naturally, on its own, without doing anything, move more efficiently. This is quantum healing right here. This is where, when one masters this, you can literally rejuvenate joints, like grow back cartilage, and bone fragments, bone spurs can regrow, right? Because it's a story. And it can be any story. And at this level, there cannot be a me that creates a new story. Something like a law of attraction or positive affirmation, that shit is way up at the pain level. But when we're sitting here as space, looking right here, you are just space. And from that space, we're looking directly at energy. But it's space before it's energy. And that energy has to have some kind of story to come up with sensation. It's a story is all it is, because it's still nothing more than space. And then it has to come up with a story called pain. It's just space still. It's still just space.
I'm with you, girly.
Yeah. It's kind of awesome, yeah?
Yeah, it's just awesomest.
It's like, oh shit, it's all just a fucking story.
It's so ridiculous. It's ridiculously glorious. And
there's this little moment that would, like a me, that could come in there and go, well, I want a different story. You know, then I want a body that has no pain, and I want $1 million, and I could just, because I'm so free. I'm really free. But you're suddenly less free with that me.
Only word I got. Oh, to hang out in insight.
It's kind of awesome, though, where you're like, oh my God, it's space. My body is space. Literally, not metaphorically. Like, it's just space here. And then there's not like a me that has to reassemble the whole thing, the whole body, or carry on or anything. And there's a body here, and there's form here. But we can certainly, where there's places of an inefficient space, like what we would refer to as pain, if we can come all the way backtrack all the way from pain to sensation. Sensation is energy. Energy becomes to really directly see it's just fucking space. It can actually find the more efficient rhythm.
Hey, that was the biggest key for me today, is that the use of that word rhythm. It really helped.
Cool. It's kind of a trip, huh? So I want you to keep hanging out here in this deep recognition.
I honor you, Kiran. Thank you so much.
I love you too, babe. Have a beautiful, spacious fucking coming home.
Oh, thank you so much.